Ianna?
Oh. Yes. Forgive me, I was lost.
How so?
Well, this place. Since you've rekindled the Nexus, it is an ocean of thoughts, feelings, and memories. You felt it yourself as you joined your mind with the Nexus.
So you can hear the Shaper's thoughts now?
Fragments, yes. Just like when you had your vision.
How come the joining didn't make me more like you? I thought the Shapers who connected themselves with the Nexus were able to feel each other's feelings and hear each other's thoughts. Isn't that exactly what Dreamweavers do?
No. This telepathy the Nexus granted its users, it's different from my abilities. You can only hear the thoughts of the other ones who once joined themselves to the Nexus. And they are all long dead. In other words, you're listening to the whispers of 1,000 corpses. My mind, on the other hand, is like an open window. And people's thoughts and emotions are like leaves the wind has blown inside. It doesn't limit itself to a certain group of people, as Shaper telepathy did.
Well, what do you hear then? Do you know why the Shapers died?
I'm afraid I don't. Just imagine standing inside at Everlight's market at high noon. It's impossible to make out anything. Which is why I try to keep my mind closed for most of the time.
What do you make of this vision I had?
What should I make of it? I don't know, Tahar. Only you can answer that question. But I think your father's laboratory holds the answers you're looking for. And maybe an end to the blood burn. Yes, Corporal? How can I help?
I'd like to know more about your friend. The one you lost to the blood burn.
I'm not sure what there is to say. She was my friend, and the blood burn took her. Hence, I joined you. That is all there is to say.
There's something I've been wondering. How can you kill for a living?
What do you mean? How can I align it with my morals?
Yes.
I don't know if this is the right moment for this conversation. Maybe another time. Yes, Corporal? How can I help?
Can you tell me more about your abilities? What's it like to be a Dreamweaver?
Well, I suppose trying to explain that to someone who isn't is like explaining what water feels like to someone who never swam before. It's strange. I can sense things. Emotions, thoughts, but also the echoes of such. If I enter a place where someone has died, I feel that person's sorrow, that person's fear. My mind, my consciousness, it's open. I know that might sound very vague, but it's the best I can do.
Well, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. How did you become an assassin?
Why do you want to know?
No particular reason, I suppose. I'm just curious.
I see. In short, my mother sold me. And after an incident, my owner noticed my talents. He started to train me to carry out jobs for him. And when I was 17, he had an accident. I've been an independent assassin ever since.
Your mother sold you? But where? Why?
Because she needed the coin, and already had 4 children to feed. And as for your first question, where there is demand, there is a market, particularly in a big city like Greyfell. It's not as uncommon as you might believe.
You're saying there's a slave market in Greyfell?
Slaves, sex, murdering for pleasure. Just imagine every dark desire you can think of. And you know what the Greyfell Bazaar has to offer. I find it interesting that this surprises you. Didn't you serve in the Royal Army for 8 years?
I only joined shortly before the Mage Wars started. And the Greyfell affairs were the responsibility of the Greyfell Guard. I just didn't know.
Well, now you do. I I do not agree with the purity of light in most aspects, but they are right when they say there are many sinners in this world. If you believe in the concept of sin, that is.
How do you feel about this? Your mother selling you off?
Well, I used to feel strongly about it. Now I've simply accepted it as part of my past. But there are plenty of reasons for that.
Even if she needed the money, that's despicable.
Well, to her credit, she didn't take it lightly. At least as far as I can remember. I was only 7 when that happened.
That doesn't make it better. That's quite the story.
Is it?
So, who was this man who bought you?
I won't talk about that. This chapter of my past is done, and I want it to stay buried.
I understand.
I'm glad you do. So, tell me, Pariah, how did you become the betrayer's child in the first place? It's rare for a child to defy their own father.
It's complicated.
You don't want to share this with me, do you? Well, I will not pressure you. Either way, is there anything else you need?
Well, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. How did you become an assassin?
Why do you want to know?
Because I want to know my allies.
Huh. I see. In short, my mother sold...
Your mother...
Because she needed the coin, and already had 4 children.
So, who...
I won't talk about that. This chapter of my past is done, and
That sounds...
I am. So, tell me, Pariah, how did you become the betrayer's child in the first place?
He lost his vision.
Either way, is there anything else you...
Goodbye.